Here's a video on polynomials day 2. You're going to do a little bit of practice before you take your quiz. So numbers 1 through 4, you're finding the sum. When you're finding the sum, you're adding the like terms. And again, you leave the exponents alone. Leave exponents alone. So here you have 7t, and the other like term is a negative 4t, so you're going to combine them exactly the way they are. So in the calculator, you're going to put 7 plus a negative 4, or 7 minus 4, which is the same thing. You get a positive 3. So 3t, now you're going to combine your constants, so you have a positive 6 and minus 2, so 6 minus 2 is 4, so a plus 4. You're done here because those are not like terms. Next, number 2, you have negative 12v plus 3 plus 8v minus 7. Again, when it's addition, you don't have to worry about distributing a sign. You find the like terms and combine them. So I have negative 12v plus 8v. Put that together in your calculator, and you're going to put negative 12 plus 8. Negative 4, so negative 4v. Now you take 3 minus 7. So you have a positive 3 minus 7, and it's a negative 4. Or you can take a positive 3 plus a negative 7. Either way, you get a negative 4, so minus 4v. And they're done because they're not like terms. You can't combine them anymore. Number 3, here you have still addition, and you're going to combine anything with j squared. So here I have 3j squared. I look for another j squared. Here is another one. And this time it has a negative 6j squared. So in the calculator, I'm going to take 3 minus 6. Or it's 3 plus a negative 6, which is the same thing, a negative 3. So you combine those two, get negative 3j squared. You don't change the exponent. Now you look at negative 7j and negative 4j, and you're going to combine them. You can add them, or you can just take negative 7 minus 4. It's the same thing as negative 7 plus a negative 4. You get the exact same answer, negative 11. So negative 11j. Next, you're going to take your constants, a positive 1 and a positive 9. It's 1 plus 9. 1 plus 9. Oops. It's 1 plus 9, not negative 1. Positive 10. So positive 10. Here you're done. There's no more like terms. Number 4. You have 2w squared, and you look for another w squared. Here's another plus 2w squared. 2 plus 2 is 4, so 4w squared. Now you're going to combine your negative 7w and your plus 8w. So negative 7 plus 8 is a positive 1, so you have to put a plus 1w, or just plus w. Last, there's nothing like with this plus 3, so you just bring it down. Here you're done, and it's already in standard form. All right, now we're going to find the difference. When you're finding the difference, you're going to subtract, but you have to remember to distribute the negative first. When you distribute the negative, it just changes the signs. So here you have a negative 1 in front. You're going to leave the first part the same. P minus 5. Now you're going to distribute negative 1 to 4p, negative 1 to 7p. When you distribute, you multiply. Negative 1 times 4p. So negative 1 times 4 is a negative 4. So you're multiplying. So you get a negative 4p. Now you distribute and you multiply a negative 1 times a negative 7. A negative times a negative is a positive. So a plus 7 here. Now you have to combine your like terms. So you see you have a 1p here, and you have a minus 4p. The sign in front tells you what to do. So you're taking 1 minus 4, negative 3. So negative 3p. Now you take your constants, negative 5 plus 7, negative 5 plus 7, positive 2, so you have to put a plus 2 here. You always have to have a plus or minus sign between your terms. Number 6. Here you have 8w plus 3 minus, so you have a negative in front. You need to distribute and you need to multiply that negative 1. When you multiply the negative 1, it changes the signs. So 8w plus 3 stays the same. When you distribute and multiply, this is going to be a negative 1 times 9, a negative 9, negative 9w, a negative 1 times 6, negative 1 times 6, a negative 6. Now you can combine your like terms. So the like terms that you see with 8w will be minus 9w. So you put those together. 8 minus 9, negative 1, negative 1w. Now you combine your constants. Positive 3 minus 6, 3 minus 6, negative 3. And now you're done because these are not like terms. Next, let's look at the last two problems. Number 7. You have 3y squared minus 6y plus 9 minus, so here when you see that minus sign, there's a negative 1 that you need to distribute and multiply. When you do that, it changes the signs of everything to the right. So I still have 3y squared minus 6y plus 9. When I distribute that negative, it's a negative 1 times 6, a negative 6y squared. A negative 1 times a negative 7. Negative 1 times a negative 7. A positive 7. So I have plus 7y. So it goes from a 6 to minus 6, from a minus 7 to a plus 7. This minus 2 is going to change to a plus 2. Negative 1 times negative 2. Positive 2, so plus 2. From here, you're going to combine your like terms. So you have 3y squared minus 6y squared. You always take the signs in front. So 3 minus 6 is a negative 3y squared. Now you're going to take this minus 6y and this plus 7y. So it's a negative 6 plus 7. You have a positive 1y. You can just put plus y. And last, you take your constants. So I'm taking a plus 9 and a plus 2. It's just 9 plus 2. 11. So plus 11. And you're done. There are no more like terms, and it's in standard form. All right, the last problem, number 8, you have 5b squared minus 6b minus 9. You have a minus sign, so you're going to distribute a negative 1 to each term inside the parentheses. So that means everything in front stays. 5b squared minus 6b minus 9. Now I change the signs. Negative times a negative is a plus 2b squared. Negative 1 times negative 2. Positive 2. Negative 1 times a positive 8. Negative 8b. Negative 1 times a positive 8. Negative 8. Negative 1 times a negative 1 is a positive 1. Negative 1 times a negative 1, is a positive 1. Now you can combine your like terms. So you're going to combine 5b squared with plus 2b squared. So 5 plus 2, 7b squared. Now you're going to combine a negative 6b with a negative 8b, negative 6 minus 8, or you can say negative 6 plus a negative 8. It's the same thing. You get negative 14b, and last you're going to combine your constants. You have a negative 9 plus 1. Negative 9 plus 1. Negative 8. I'm done here because they are not like terms. You can finish off the rest on your own.